at okay, so today we look at semiconductor. Okay, now before we look at semiconductor, right? Okay, we look at okay, conductor and insulator. Okay, now, so if you look at a conductor, now a conductor can conduct electricity, right? Why? Because a conductor has free electron. Okay, so that means they have electron which are free to move. So what happens is when you apply electric field, so that means you can see the electron are able to move lah. So they're able to move. That's why they can become what they call it conductor. Okay. Now opposite of conductor is insulator. Now insulator, what happens is the electrons are not able to move. Okay, they are involved in covalent bonding. So because of that, when you apply electric field, so you see that the electron are not able to move. So there's no free electron lah. So because there's no free electron, so what happens is, okay, it cannot conduct electricity. Okay, huh? Now, so coming back to semiconductor. Now, semiconductor basically are material which has conductivity between conductor and insulator. Okay, that means they can become conductor, they can become insulator, depends on temperature lah. Example like element group 4, silicon, germanium. Okay, now at low temperature is like 0 Kelvin. Now the semiconductor becomes insulator, okay, because there is no free electron. But at higher temperature it becomes a conductor. Okay, at higher temperature it becomes a conductor because there is free electron. Now so usually what we do is now to explain in terms of conductivity and non-conductivity. So usually what we do is we need to look at the energy level of the electron. Okay, the energy level of the electron. Now, so basically, right, you have the valence band. Valence band, that means the electron are involved in covalent bonding, and then conduction band is where the electron are able to move freely. Now, if you look at the conductor, right, now for a conductor, okay, so what happens is this is the valence band, this is the conduction band. So the valence band and the conduction band, they overlap each other. Okay, they overlap each other. So what happens? Easy for the electron. Okay, conduction band is a higher energy level. So involve a bit of a chemistry also lah. Okay, so it's higher level of energy. So what happens? The conduction band and valence band, they are okay. What do you call it? They overlap each other. So easy for the electron to enter the conduction band. Okay, so you don't need to give any energy. It can enter the conduction band by itself because they overlap each other. Now the problem between for insulator is now between the valence band and the conduction band. Okay, there's a forbidden band. There's a gap here. There's a very huge gap here between the insulator, valence band and conduction band. So what happens is, okay, it's very difficult for the electron, okay, to jump to the conduction band because of this gap is very high. Now, whereas for semiconductor, okay, you can see that the forbidden band is very small. Okay, so the forbidden band is very small. The gap is very small. So what happens is, okay, at lower temperature, the electrons are in the valence band. That means they are involved in covalent bonding. Now, if you give, let's say you heat up that means at room temperature, what happens is this electron gave enough energy to jump to conduction band. Okay, so they can jump into conduction band. So that's why they're able to conduct electricity. Okay, this for semiconductor lah. But you need higher temperature in order for this to happen. But for conductor, no need because they overlap. You can see how they overlap. The conduction band and the valence band, there's overlap here. So the electron can enter the conduction band easily without giving any external energy. Okay. Now for insulator is difficult. Why? Because the forbidden band is the gap is very high. So very difficult for the electron to jump from valence band to conduction band. Okay. But semiconductor is easy. Okay, because the gap is very small. So that's why semiconductor at lower temperature it becomes insulator because the electrons are all in the valence band. But at higher temperature, if you give enough heat energy, what happens? It can jump to conduction band because the gap is very small. Okay, so So that's why, okay, so what do you call it? Okay, semiconductor can become conductor, can become insulator. Okay, depends on the temperature lah. Okay, now so we look more into the silicon and germanium atomic structure. Okay, so if you look at silicon, germanium, they are from group 4, right? So there are 4 valence electron. That means 4 electron at the outer orbital. Okay, so there are 4 electron at the outer orbital. So there are 4 electron at the outer orbital. So what happens is at low temperature, right? All these electron will be involved in covalent bonding. Okay, so all of them will be involved with covalent bonding lah. Okay, so each of them will be surrounded by 8 electrons. Okay, so 4 is theirs and 4 is from their neighbor lah. Okay, so at low temperature, what happens? They will be involved in covalent bonding. That means they are not free to move. Okay, they are not free to move. So they're involved in covalent bonding. This is what happened during a low temperature at 0 Kelvin lah. Okay, now okay, at higher temperature, what happens is, okay, now some of the electron, okay, will gain enough energy. So it will gain enough energy. So what happens? It can come out from the bonding. Okay, so example, I say this electron come out from the bonding. So when this electron comes out from the bonding, so what happens? This electron is going to become a free hole. It's a free electron, sorry. So this electron is going to become, okay, a free electron. That means these electrons are free to move. Okay, so the electron initially was involved in covalent bonding. If you give enough energy, let's say heat energy, what happens? They can come out from the bonding to become a free electron. So what happens is when the electrons comes out from the bonding, it will leave a vacancy here. Okay, so there'll be a vacancy here. So this vacancy, we call it as hole. Okay, so this vacancy is, we call it as hole. Now, so this vacancy is left by the electron that goes out just now. Okay, now sometimes they say positive hole. Okay, because why? This one is lack of electron. Okay, but sometimes just say hole also, okay lah. Okay, or positive hole. Okay, so the electron left and then creating a vacancy, we call it as hole lah. Okay, now, so what happened? Okay, so when you increase the temperature, that means more electrons are able to come out from the bonding. So when they come out from the bonding, what happens? They become a free electron. So that's why for semiconductor, okay, for semiconductor, okay, what happens is they are able to conduct electricity because at high temperature they are able to come out from the bonding to become a free electron. Okay, they are able to come out from the bonding to become a free electron. Okay, now, so example like this, okay. So the electron that comes out create a vacancy, we call it a hole or positive hole. Okay. Okay. Example. Now, what is the usage of this hole? Okay. Now you see, right, in the bonding there is a vacancy here. So what happens is the electron from the neighboring silicon atom can come and fill this hole. That means what happens is you see that the electron in the bonding are able to move. Okay. So because of the vacancy in the bonding, the electron are able to move. They are able to move randomly. Okay, so they're able to move. So that's why conductivity of semiconductor. Okay, so conductivity. Okay, conductivity of semiconductor. Okay, we say because of free electron. And then another one we call it as because of hole or positive hole. Okay, because this hole create some sort like a place for the electron to move. Okay, that means the electron in the bonding are able to move. Okay, so we see, right, when the electron goes up, the hole actually goes. When the electron goes up, the hole will be down. See, the electron goes up, relatively the hole will be down. So when the electron goes to the right, the hole, okay, will go to the left. Okay. So it's relative lah. Okay, now the hole is not positive ion. The hole is just an empty space. Okay, empty space for the electron to fill in. It's not an ion. Okay, but they call it positive because okay, there is lack of electron. Okay, there's left electron. Okay, now it's something like this. Now let's say you have a water bottle, right? Okay, you can see there's a air pocket here, right? Air pocket here. So what happened? Okay, now what happened? Okay, if let's say, right, if you move the bottle this way, right? So you see that the air pocket actually goes up. Initially, the air pocket was down. Now, actually, the air pocket is not moving. It's because of the water moving to this side. So when I turn this way, right, the water will move this way. So relatively, the air pocket will be like this. So that means the water is something like the electron. The air pocket is something like the hole. Okay, initially the hole is on top. So what happened when the electron fill up this area? So relatively, the hole will be here. Okay, so same thing lah. Okay, let's say when the electron fill up the top part, relatively the hole will be at the bottom. Okay. Okay, so okay, now so it's like this. Now we try to explain in terms of energy, level of the electron. Now let's say here got okay. So initially the electrons are okay in the valence band at low temperature. So what happened is when the electron gain enough energy, what happened? The electron are able to jump to conduction band. Okay, because of the energy gain lah. So because of that, what happened? They become a free electron, so they are able to move. Now, what happened? Let's say when this electron jump to this area, what happened? It create an empty space here. Okay, so it creates some sort like a vacancy. We call it lah. So we call it as a hole. Okay, so what happened is this hole can be filled up by the neighboring electron. Let's say this electron fill up this hole. So what happened? Because of that, it will create a hole here. Okay, let's say this electron fill up this hole. Okay, so they're able to move randomly. So because of that, there'll be a hole here. That means because of the hole, what? It creates some sort of like opportunity for the electron to move. Okay, that's why for semiconductor, we say that conductivity because of what do you call it? Because of free electron and positive hole. Okay, because of free electron and positive hole. Okay, so the electron that comes go here, they are able to move in the conduction band. They're able to move freely. And then on top of that, the electron at the valence band also are able to move. Okay, because of the positive hole. Because the condition for to conduct electricity is electron must be able to move. Okay, the electron are able to move freely. Okay, so that's why for semiconductor we see, right, the conductivity is because of two things. One is because of the free electron. The other one is because of the hole, or call it positive hole. Okay, it just empty space. Okay, now. Okay, now next. We look at what is meant by, we look at how to increase okay, the conductivity of semiconductor. Now, the process, we call it as doping. Okay, maybe Paul is very familiar with this, doping. Okay, now doping basically, right, is a process where we add impurities into semiconductor. Okay, we add impurities into semiconductor. Okay, okay, so we add impurities into semiconductor. So doping. Now, so basically, right, what happened is in doping, right? Okay, you cannot add any impurities. There's only certain impurities. There's a reason why. Later explain. Now, doping. For semiconductor. Now, semiconductor is group 4. So usually what they do is doping is done using either from group 5, pentavalent or trivalent. Trivalent group 3 lah. Okay, so pentavalent and trivalent. Okay, so pentavalent and trivalent. So for pentavalent, that means we have 5 valence electron. That means 5 electron at the outer orbital. Okay, 5 electron at the outer orbital. Okay, Trivalent, that means 3 electron at the outer orbital lah. Yeah. Now, example of pentavalent atom, this one you must remember, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony. Okay, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony. Okay, so you must remember lah. Okay, okay. So this one doping is we add impurities. Now this doping is not drugs or whatever. It's something like impurities lah. Okay, you add impurities into something, and that's why I call it doping. It's just a general term. Okay, so you add impurities into the semiconductor. Okay, yeah, so we call it as doping lah. Okay, so phosphorus, arsenic, antimony. Now, so what happened when we add pentavalent atom into semiconductor? Okay, now example, let's say okay, now let's say you add antimony into this what do you call it, semiconductor, right? So what happened? Antimony has 5 valence electron. Okay, 5 valence electron. So out of these 5, what happened? 4 of them will be involved in covalent bonding. So there's one extra electron here which is not attached to any germanium or semiconductor atom. So this electron can come out and become a free electron. Okay, now, okay, can come out and become a free electron. So what happened is, at the same time, the electron of the semiconductor also can come out from the bonding. So let's say this electron comes out, and then what happened? It create a hole here. Okay, so this electron comes out, it create a hole here. Okay, this electron comes out, it create a hole here. Okay, okay. So what happened, right? For this example, right? If you look at the number of electrons, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So there is 4 free electron. Okay, but there is 1, 2, 3, 3 positive hole. Okay, the hole is only created by semiconductor atom. So this one there's no hole here. Okay, this one because it's not attached to any bonding, so it can come out become a free electron. Okay, so what happens for this example, right? When you add a pentavalent atom got extra electron. So what happens is it donates the electron so that you have more electron compared to positive hole or compared to hole. That's why this one they call it as a N-type semiconductor. N-type, that means you have more negative charge or you have more electron. Okay, negatively charged, which is electron. So you have more electron compared to hole. Okay, that's why they call it N-type semiconductor. So when you put a pentavalent atom, this pentavalent atom has 5 valence electron. So out of these 5, one of them, 4 will be involved in covalent bonding, the other one is not involved. So what happens? It can come out and become a free electron. So because of that, what happens is, okay, you have more free electron compared to positive hole. So that's why they call it as N-type semiconductor. Okay, so N-type semiconductor. Okay, so when you talk about doping using a pentavalent atom, okay, so you must remember the example. Okay, so since pentavalent has extra electron, so it donates, we call it as a donor atom. So the pentavalent atom acts as a donor atom. Okay, so because of that, what happened? The free electron or the electron becomes majority charge. Carrier means charge lah. So holes are minority. That means they have more electron compared to hole. That's why they call it this one as N-type semiconductor. Okay, N-type semiconductor. Okay, N-type semiconductor. Okay, so N-type semiconductor. Okay. Now, if we try to explain using, let's say, the energy level. Now, so let's say this is your semiconductor. Okay. So let's say this is your valence band. This is your conduction band. Okay, I just draw this one a bit wider for the semiconductor. Okay, now this is the forbidden band Okay, so what happened, right? Okay, when you add pentavalent atom, okay, it seems that okay, okay. So let's say the what do you call it, because it is a different what do you call it, different material, right? Pentavalent atom. So it seems that the covalent band, okay, the energy level will be this much. Okay, so let's say the energy level is this much. So what happened is, okay, now we know that there is electron. Okay, so there is electron here. Okay, for the semiconductor at the valence band. So this electron can jump to your conduction band. Okay, if the temperature is high. Now at the same time, for the pentavalent atom, they also have electron here, the valence electron. So this valence electron is nearer to the conduction band of semiconductor. So it's able to jump to this band much more easier. So that's why pentavalent atom, okay, is used because of this. Okay, because the valence band, that means the energy level of the valence band, okay, is closer to the conduction band of semiconductor. So they're able to jump to this conduction band much more easier. So that's why you use a pentavalent atom. Now, if you use other atom, so what happens is their valence band may be somewhere around here. So it's more difficult for them to jump to this region, okay, compared to pentavalent. So that's why they use specific kind of impurities for this doping, okay. So because for pentavalent, the energy level at the valence band is closer to the conduction band of semiconductor. So they're able to jump, okay, when you put the, what do you call it, pentavalent atom into semiconductor. Now this is forbidden band. Now yes, this one is a forbidden band, but this forbidden band is for semiconductor. It's not for your, what do you call it, pentavalent atom. Okay, so different atom has different energy level. Okay, so what happened when you put pentavalent inside here? So eventually the pentavalent atom, okay, the energy level of the valence band is closer to the conduction band of the semiconductor. So that's why they're able to jump. Okay, so that's why, okay, so let's say when this will jump, okay, so this one also jump. So but for semiconductor, when this one jump, it create a hole here. Okay, so let's say when this one jump, you have an electron here. So let's say this one jump and create a hole here. So let's say you see there's 4 electron here, there's 2 positive hole. That's why we call it as N-type semiconductor. Okay, so basically the pentavalent atom helps to increase the number of electron by donating the electron. Okay, by donating the electron. So that's why we call it as N-type semiconductor. Okay, N-type semiconductor. Okay, now next we look at another type of doping. We call it using a trivalent atom. Now for trivalent atom, okay, the atom used is boron, aluminium, and gallium. Okay, boron, aluminium, gallium. Okay, this one also you must remember Now trivalent atom only has 3 electron at the outer orbital. Okay, 3 electron at the outer orbital. Okay. So let's say use indium here. Okay. So let's say indium has 3 valence electron. Okay, there's 3 valence electron. Okay. So what happened is, okay, so this electron, okay, this electron is involved in covalent bonding. Okay, now, so what happened is there is this. See, for every silicon atom, okay, it will be, each atom will be surrounded by 8 valence electron. That means 8 electron at the outer orbital. That means 4 is theirs, the other 4 is from their neighbor. Okay, so if you look at this silicon atom, the bonding is not complete. Okay, because there is no electron here So what happened is the neighboring silicon atom, the neighboring germanium, right? So the electron from the neighboring germanium atom, okay, can come and fill up this area. Okay, so it can fill up this area. Okay, huh? Now what happens is, let's say when the electron fill up this area, it create a positive hole here. Okay, so let's say this electron comes here, fill up this area, so they create a positive hole here. So what happens is the indium atom has lack of electron. So what happens is accept electron from the neighboring semiconductor atom. That's why I call it an acceptor atom. That means accept the electron. Okay, so basically what happens, it does only have 3 valence electron. So it's something like there's a vacancy here. So what happens is the neighboring semiconductor atom, the electron can come up and fill up this area. So let's say when they fill up this area, so they create a hole here. Okay, so let's say this electron comes up and fill up this area, so it create a hole here. Now at the same time, the electron can come out and become a free electron. Let's say they come out and become a free electron, so it create a hole here. Okay, so for this example, right, if you see, right, let's say there's 2 free electron. Okay, there's 2 free electron, but there is 1, 2, 3 hole. So that's why for trivalent atom, okay, when you dope using trivalent atom, okay, the trivalent atom has lack of electron. So that means it's accept electron. Okay, when you accept electron, what happens? Because of that, the semiconductor now have more hole compared to free electron. That's why this one we call it as p-type semiconductor lah. P means like you have more positive charges. Okay, even though hole is not a charge, so that more positively charged hole compared to electron. That's why they call it p-type semiconductor. Okay, so for doping, right? Okay, using a trivalent atom. Okay, now using a trivalent atom. Okay, boron, aluminium, gallium, indium. Now, so trivalent atom, what happened? Accept electron. That's why I call it acceptor atom. That means it accept. Okay, so because of that, the hole become the majority charge, the free electron becomes minority charge. That's why we call it as p-type semiconductor. Okay, we call it as p-type semiconductor. Okay, p-type semiconductor. Okay, now okay, let's say this is your pure semiconductor. So pure semiconductor without any impurities. Okay, so this is your valence band. This is your conduction band. And then this is your forbidden band lah. Okay, so let's say you have electron here. Okay, now what happened when you use a trivalent atom? So this trivalent atom, the energy level is slightly higher here. Okay, when you dope using a trivalent atom. Now what happened is, okay, we know that, okay, for a normal semiconductor, this electron can jump to conduction band if you give enough energy. So it can jump lah. But there's another energy level here. Okay, okay, even though it's forbidden band, but because this is by the trivalent atom. So trivalent atom has an energy band here. So what happened? The electron from the semiconductor also can jump to this region. Okay, so remember, right, when this electron jump to this region, it create a positive hole. Okay, then this electron jumps to this region, it create a positive hole. But this is a free electron. So this one, the electron that goes to the trivalent atom. So this is a trivalent atom. Okay, so trivalent atom energy level. So what happened? The electron from the semiconductor can jump here also. So that's why you see, right, for this example, right, we have 1 free electron, 2 positive hole. Okay, so what happened when you add the trivalent atom? There's another energy level created here at the forbidden band lah. Okay, created here, which is slightly higher here. Okay, so the electron also can jump here because the gap is very small. Okay, they can jump here. So what happened is, okay, the what they call it, the trivalent atom. act as an acceptor atom. They accept the electron from the semiconductor. So because of that, you create more hole compared to free electron. That's why we call it as p-type semiconductor. Okay, p-type semiconductor. Okay. Yeah. So what you must know is, okay, how say example of pentavalent atom, example of trivalent atom, and then what does the pentavalent atom do? It donates the electron. Trivalent accept. Okay, so for pentavalent, electron becomes majority. For trivalent, the whole becomes majority. Okay, so and then for pentavalent, the type semiconductor call it N type. For what do you call it? For the what do you call it? Trivalent, we call it a p-type semiconductor. Okay. Now next we're going to look at diode. Okay. So just now we look at p-type and n-type. So p-type and n-type, right? So when you join both of these, we call it as diode. Okay. So when you combine a p-type semiconductor with the n-type semiconductor, we call it as a diode. Now the actual symbol for diode will be like this. There's a triangle here. There's a vertical line. Okay. 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 So this one. So this is actual symbol for diode. Okay. Now, so we look at, okay. Now, let's say you have a p-type semiconductor. Remember, p you have more positive hole, okay, and you have more free electron, okay. So this is a p-type, n-type semiconductor. Now, so let's say you take the semiconductor, you join them, okay, you join them. So what happens is you see that the electron at the boundary, okay, what's going to happen is the electron at the boundary, okay, the electron at the boundary from the n-type will drift to the p-type, okay. So the electron at the boundary, so the electron at the boundary of the n-type will drift to the p-type. Okay, so they will move to the p-type. Okay. Now, this, the boundary here, we call it as a junction. Okay. The junction is the boundary between the p-type and n-type. So what happens is we see that the electron from the n-type will drift to the p-type. Now, what happens is, because this region loses electron, okay, that's why it becomes positively charged. This region receive electron, that's why it becomes negatively charged. Okay, that's why it becomes more negative. This one become more positive because this electron from the n-type will drift to the p-type. Okay, yeah. Now, this region near the boundary, or near the junction, okay, with the opposite charges. Remember, this one is negative at the boundary of p-type. This one is positive at the boundary of n-type. So this region we call it as depletion layer. Okay, yeah. Now we call it as a depletion layer. Now, what happened due to the formation of the depletion layer? Now here you still have a lot of electron, here you still have a lot of positive hole. So you see that the electron from the n-type cannot drift to this p-type anymore. Why? Because negative and negative will start to repel. Okay, negative, negative will start to repel, or positive, positive will start to repel. So what happens? You see that the flow of charges will stop. That means the formation of the depletion layer causes the flow of electron at the end here stop to go to the p-type because negative and negative will repel. Okay, so so this one before you join. So when you join, what happened? You see that, okay, the electron from the n-type will drift to the p-type. Okay, so because of that, at the boundary, right? At the boundary of the p-type will be negatively charged. At the boundary of n-type will be positively charged. Okay, so this layer we call it as depletion layer. So this depletion layer causes the flow of other electron to stop. That means the electron cannot flow to this side anymore because negative, negative will repel, or positive, positive will repel. So the flow of charges will stop because of the depletion layer. Yeah. Now, what happens, let's say, if you have a battery? Yeah. So let's say you have a battery with a higher voltage. Now, the first connection, I'm going to join the P type to the positive terminal, the N type to the negative terminal. Okay. So let's say the voltage of the battery is 1.5 volt. Okay. So the voltage of the battery is high. So what happens is, okay, yeah. So that means what happens? The negative and negative will repel. That means the electron is able to overcome the depletion layer because of the higher voltage of the battery. So that means the electron can move to this side, or in other words, the positive pole can move to this side. That means there'll be crossover of charges. That means the electron here can go to this side, the positive pole can go to this side relatively lah. Okay, so because of that, there'll be flow of charges. So because of that, what happens is there'll be current flowing in the circuit. Okay, so there'll be current flowing in the circuit. That means electron move this way, relatively current will move this way lah. Huh? Okay, so there'll be current flowing in the circuit. So this type of connection, we call it as forward bias. Okay, so forward bias meaning the current can flow through diode. So if you put a bulb, what happens? The bulb is able to light up. Okay, the bulb is able to light up. Okay, so forward bias, the P side will be connected to positive terminal, and then the N type will be connected to negative terminal. So there'll be current flow through the diode. We call it as forward bias. Now, if you use a symbol, okay, this is a symbol of diode. Huh? Okay, how to know forward bias using a symbol? Okay, let's say this is your circuit. Okay, so very simple. You just look at your current flow. Huh? So current start from positive. Now, if you look at the direction of current, follows the triangle of diode. So this one we call it as forward bias. Okay, follow the triangle of diode. So we call it forward bias. Okay, forward bias. Okay, now another example of forward bias. Okay, now this one is another example of forward bias. So this you have your battery. So this one is your positive terminal. This one is your negative terminal. So this is your P-type semiconductor. Okay, this will be your N-type semiconductor. So the P is connected to positive, the N connected to negative. Okay. So what happened when we connect in this manner, right? So you will see that, okay. Okay, so this one is negative, this one is positive, right? So see that the electron from the N type will start to drift to the P type. Okay, that means the electron from the N type is able to move to the P type. Okay, so that means the electron is able to move from the N type to P type. That means relatively current will move this way lah. This one we call it forward bias. Okay, so forward bias. Okay. Okay, so that means the electron can flow through diode. Okay, can pass through diode. Okay, yeah. Now, opposite of what do you call it? Opposite of forward bias is reverse bias. Okay, now for reverse bias, right? Okay. Okay, now for reverse bias, okay, this is your N type, this is your P type. Huh? Okay, so what happened for reverse bias? Okay, let's say the negative terminal of the battery connected to N type, the positive terminal connected to P type. So what you will see is, okay, sorry, yeah, oh, this is sorry. This is a P type. This is a N type. Correct. Okay, so P type, N type. Okay, yeah. So P type, N type. So this one on the left is P, yeah. On the right will be N type. So N type we have more electron. So what happened? Let's say the P type is connected to negative terminal. Okay, so P type is connected to negative terminal, and then the N type connected to positive terminal. Okay, so what happened is this N will be negative, this N will be positive. So remember, P type we have more positive hole, N type we have more electron. So when you join like this, you see that the electron, right? The electron at the N type, okay, instead of crossover, they will move away from each other. That means the electron will start to move further from the junction. Okay, they will move further from the junction. So the electron will be attracted to the right. Relatively, the hole will be attracted to the left. So instead of crossover, they start to move away from each other. Okay, so this type of connection we call it as what they call it reverse bias. So reverse bias meaning there won't be any current flow. Okay, there won't be any current flow. That means if you put a bulb here, the bulb will not light up. Okay, so the bulb will not light up. Okay, so the bulb will not light up. Okay, so this one. Okay, so for reverse bias, okay, so let's say this is your P type, this is your N type. So let's say the P type I connect to the negative terminal, okay, and then the N type connected to positive terminal. So this is positive, this is negative, right? So here become positive, here become negative. So what happens is the electron here will be attracted towards the left. Okay, so the electron will be attracted towards the left. In other words, the positive hole will be attracted to the, sorry, electron will move to the right, positive hole will move to the left. That means what happens, the charges will start to move further from each other. Instead of crossover, they move further from each other. So this type of connection, we call it reverse bias. So if you put a bulb here, the bulb will not light up. So if you use a symbol, it's like this. So let's say this is your battery. Okay. And then this is your diode. Okay. Now, how to know reverse bias? You look at your current flow. Now, if the direction of current is opposite to the triangle of your diode, okay, opposite. So you call it reverse bias. Okay, so reverse bias. So what happened is, diode only allow current to flow in one direction. Okay, diode only allow current to flow in one direction. So if you want to switch this circuit to become forward bias, either you switch the terminal of the battery or you switch the diode. Okay, either you switch terminal battery, it become forward bias lah. So that means diode only allow current to flow in one direction. So for this example, right? So the current can only flow in a clockwise direction. Anti-clockwise cannot. So that means diode only allow current to flow in one direction. That's the function of diode. Okay, allowing current to flow in one direction. So in order for it to do that, what happened? The P type must be connected to positive terminal, the N type connected to negative lah. Okay, something like your anode connected to positive, cathode to negative. Okay, so it only allow current to flow in one direction. Okay. Okay. Now we look at example of question involving diode first. Now you can refer to question number 1. Okay. Now diagram shows the structure of a semiconductor material. Now based on diagram above, name the type of semiconductor material. Okay, name the type of semiconductor material. So they give you silicon and boron. Silicon is semiconductor, boron is impurities. So that means your answer here will be silicon. Okay, so what is the function of boron atom? Now boron is a trivalent atom. So the function is to accept electron. Okay, to accept electron. Pentavalent is to donate. This one is to accept. Okay. Next, name the majority charge carrier for this. Okay, so it's whole. Either you write whole or positive whole also can. Okay. Next, at 0 Kelvin, okay, a pure semiconductor material has a high resistance. Explain why. That means at 0 Kelvin, they are not able to conduct electricity. In other words, so why? Because there's no free electron. Okay, no free electron. Okay. Next, diagram shows a p-type semiconductor is joined to an n-type semiconductor. Now later the combination is connected to a bulb and battery. So name the line X, the boundary here lah. So this one we call it as the junction. Okay, junction. And then state the type of connection of diode to the battery. So the P is connected to positive and connected to negative. So this one we call it as forward bias. Okay, forward bias lah. Okay, forward bias. And then what happened to the bulb when the battery connection is reversed? So the answer will be does not light up. Okay, so reason because diode is reverse bias. Okay, diode is reverse bias. Okay, so diode is reverse bias. Okay. Now since diode only allow current to flow in one direction, okay, what happen is, that's why diode will be used as a component to convert alternating current to direct current. So this process we call it as rectification. Okay, so rectification is a process converting alternating current to direct current. Okay, now basically there's two types of rectification. One we call it full wave and half wave. So half wave rectification, full wave rectification. So now example of half wave rectification. Okay, now, so it's like this. Okay, what? Let's say, right, you have an alternating current power supply. Now you have alternating current power supply. So now we know that if you look at the graph of voltage against time, okay, voltage against time for alternating current, it will look like this. Look like a sine wave. So you have the positive cycle, the negative cycle, positive cycle, negative cycle. So now this is a diode, and then this is your resistor. You can put bulb. Now across the bulb, across the resistor, we put a CRO because we want to see whether there's an output voltage or not. Okay. Now we look at the first half cycle. First half cycle. Okay. So we look at the during the positive cycle. That means when P is positive, Q is negative. So you will see that, okay, so the current can flow through diode because it's forward bias. That means across the resistor, there'll be current, there'll be voltage. So you'll be able to see the output at the CRO. Okay, output at the CRO. Huh? Now, we look at what happened during the negative cycle, meaning when the top one becomes negative. That means when P becomes negative, Q become positive. So you see that the current, okay, now the current is not able to flow because the diode is reverse bias. The current is blocked, so it's reverse bias. So what happens is across the resistor, there's no current, there's no voltage. So that's why you see there's a flat here. Okay, that means during the negative cycle, there's no current passing through the resistor. There's no voltage. So that's why you see there's no wave here. Okay. Then after that, when you change back here positive and negative, so the current can flow back. Okay. So that means what happened across the resistor, there'll be voltage, there'll be current. So you can get the output voltage. So you can see able to see the half wave. Okay. So that means what happened is your input is a full wave. Okay, your input is a full wave, but when it comes out here, because of the diode, it becomes half wave. That means the positive cycle got current, and then got no current, got current, no current, got current, no current flow. That's why I call it full wave rectification. Sorry, half wave rectification, because only half only got. The other half here don't have. The other half is being blocked. Okay, that's why we call it as a half wave rectification. That means diode only allow current to flow in one direction. Okay, diode only allow current to flow in one direction. Okay, so this one we call it as a half wave rectification. That means if you put a bulb here, right? Okay, if you put a bulb here, what happens is the bulb is not able, okay, the what do you call it? The bulb is not able to light up. Okay, the bulb is not able to light up. Okay, because forward bias, current got flow, reverse bias, the current cannot flow. Because if you remember, right, your diode, okay, this one is your P, this is your N. Okay, so when here is positive, here negative, that means the electron can jump to this side, this one can jump to this side. Okay, this one is forward bias lah. Okay, so during the reverse bias, let's say this is your P type, this is your N type. So here it become negative, here become positive. So what happened? The electron is not able to cross over. We say something like the current is blocked lah. Okay, so the current is blocked from flowing. This one, the current is able to flow. Okay, so the current is able to flow. This one, the current is like blocked. Okay, because of reverse bias. Okay. Okay. Now the thing is, if you put a bulb, what happened to the bulb? You see, right? Because there is current, got no current, got current. That means the bulb will actually will blink lah. Okay, it will blink because got current, definitely got no current, got current, no current. Okay. Now to produce a better rectification, what we do is we use full wave rectification. Now full wave rectification, okay, involve the uses of 4 diode. Okay, involve the uses of 4 diode. Okay, so this is your AC voltage. So you have the positive cycle, negative cycle, positive cycle, negative cycle. Now we look at what happened when P is positive. So when P is positive, you see that the current, okay, goes up. Now coming to this junction, the current cannot go to D4 because reverse bias. So the current will go to D1. Okay, that means you go here, and then you go to D1. Okay, then coming here, you cannot go to D2 because reverse bias again. So what happened? It goes down. Okay, so meaning it'll go here, it goes down here, it goes down here, it goes up. Now coming to this junction, you can say it can go to D4, D1, it can go to D3, D2, it can go to D3, go back to negative. Now what happened is going to go to D3 and go back to negative because why? It only uses, so it only pass through one diode. That means something like path of less resistance. So because of that, okay, it goes to D3 and then go back to negative. Okay, so complete the first cycle. So it will go to D3 and then go back to negative. Okay, negative. Okay, that means what happened, you see that during the positive cycle for this example, it passes to the diode which is parallel. So D1 and D3. So it goes like this, goes here, and then goes here. Okay, now what happened? Okay, now next we look at what happened when Q become positive. Okay, okay, let's say this color. Okay, when Q become positive, when Q becomes positive, that means the current will flow down here. Okay, so coming to this junction, it goes to D2. Okay, it goes to D2 and then it goes down. Okay, so that means it goes to D2 and then it goes here, it goes down, right? So you can see, right, in both cycles, they are flowing in the same direction. That means the current is still flowing down through the resistor. Doesn't matter on top, positive, down, negative. They still flow in the same direction. Okay, they still flow in the same direction. That means it has become a direct current. Okay, it has become a direct current because whether P positive or Q positive doesn't matter. You see for this example, right, both of the current are flowing in the same direction through the resistor. It's not going up, it's going down. So that's why it become a direct current. Okay, so it goes to D4 and then go back to negative. That means both cycle, the current is flowing in the same direction. So that's why you get a full wave rectification. Okay, you can see the wave. Okay, this one when P is positive, this one when Q become positive. Now, why it's not down here? Because you see, right, both cycles, they are flowing in the same direction. That's why they call it as a full wave rectification. Okay, that means both cycle of AC, there will be current. Okay, both cycles. So it better compared to your half wave rectification. Okay, better than your half wave rectification. Okay, another example. Okay, let's say when on top positive, that means the current flow here. So it goes to this diode and then goes to the resistor. See, the current is flowing this way. And go back to negative. Then when here is positive, so it goes here. Then goes down. See, same direction also. So that's why your voltage is up. Your voltage is not down. Okay, that means both cycle of AC, there will be current flowing to the resistor. Okay, that means if you put the bulb will not blink. That's why I call it as a full wave rectification. Okay, now the thing is, question will not ask you to draw all this. Now, usually what they do is they give you something like a blank. They ask you to draw the orientation of the diode. So just remember, right? Okay, the diode, right? Let's say if this one, the triangle is facing downward, right? This one must be facing upward. This one must be facing upward. If this one is facing downward, if one of them downward, the other one must be upward. And then the parallel one must have the same arrangement. This must follow this one must follow this. Okay, that means there's only two answers. That means if you put on your left the triangle facing downward, on your right the triangle must be facing upward. So the parallel one will have the same arrangement. Okay, let's say if you want the left to be facing upward, let's say the triangle facing upward, that means this one, the right one must be facing downward. Okay, so the down one must be facing, sorry, the right one must be facing downward. Okay, and then the parallel one will have the same arrangement. So this will follow this one will follow this. So you just draw these two first, you know already. Okay, that means if this one is facing downward, this one facing upward. So this one will follow this one will follow this. Okay, now we look at example of structured question. This one is a passive question. Okay, now diagram 6.1, 6.2 shows two circuits with identical components. Each circuit contains an emitter, a cell, and a semiconductor diode. Okay. Now give example of a semiconductor material. So you can say silicon, germanium, or can. Okay. Next. Observe diagram 6.1, 6.2. State the difference between the connection of the diode, the reading of emitter. Connection of diode, right? So you see, right? Here, this one is reverse bias, right? This one is forward bias. Because if you look at the current, so the current flow is the same as your triangle. This one, the current is like opposite your diode. Okay, so this one you just say diagram 6.1 is forward bias. Okay, diagram
6.1.
sorry, 6.2 reverse bias. Yes, correct lah. Diagram 6.1 is reverse bias saja. Okay, diagram 6.1 reverse bias. Okay, diagram 6.2 is forward bias. Okay, next. The reading of emitter. So reading of emitter. So you can see 6.1 no reading, 6.2 got reading. So just say lah. So 6.1, diagram 6.1. 6.1 no reading. 6.2 got reading. Okay, so 6.1 no reading, 6.2 got reading. Okay, next. Give two reasons that causes the difference. Give two reasons. That means why here got no reading, why here got reading. Okay, so you just say lah. Okay, when forward bias, okay, current flow through diode. Okay. And then when reverse bias, okay, no current or current can flow through diode. Okay. 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 Yeah. So when reverse bias, no current flow to diode. Okay, or current can't flow to diode. Okay. So based on this answer 6 basic, what is the function of diode? So the function of diode is to allow current, okay, to flow in one direction. Okay, to allow current to flow in one direction. Or you can even say another answer is to convert, okay, AC to DC. Okay, to convert alternating current to direct current. Okay, either one can. Okay. Now next, diagram 6.3. Okay, diagram 6.3 shows the output signal displayed on the screen of the CRO when a diode is connected to an AC power supply. So explain why the output signal is as shown in the diagram. So explain why, right? That means why the output is like this lah. Okay. So this one, right? Okay, you can say, right? Okay, during first half cycle of AC, alternating current, diode is forward bias. Okay. Second half cycle of AC, diode is reverse bias. Okay. You see, for alternating current, it looks like a wave. This is considered as one cycle. Okay. This one is the first half, this one is the second half. Okay. Sometimes you can even say positive cycle, negative cycle also can. Okay. You can even say, okay, during the positive cycle of AC, diode is forward bias. Okay. During during negative cycle of AC, diode reverse bias also can. Okay. You can even say during first half cycle of AC, diode forward bias. Or you can even say current can flow to diode. Okay. During the second half cycle, current can't flow to diode. Okay. Current can't flow. Current is blocked. So can. Okay. Plus 2 marks. Okay. Either you use positive cycle or negative cycle, or you can say first half cycle, second half cycle. Okay. Now, one more example. Now, diagram 6.1 shows a waveform on the screen of the cathode ray oscilloscope that is connected across R. Diagram 6.2 shows how an electronic component Q is connected to the circuit. Okay. So tick the correct answer in the box provided. The input power supply in diagram 6.1 is connected to what? So this one shows an alternating current. Okay. So alternating current. So tick alternating current. Okay. So what is the function of component Q? What is function? Tusha, good morning. What is the function of component Q? Okay. To allow current to flow in one direction. Okay. To allow current to flow in one direction. Okay. Or you can say to convert AC to DC also can. Okay. Now, draw the waveform produced on the screen. Now, this one you see, right? You're only using one diode. So when you're using one diode, okay, so this one will be half wave rectification. Now, this one you have to draw with the proper scale. Now, if you divide into two, right, you must know where's your half. This is your positive cycle, this is your negative cycle. Positive cycle, negative cycle. That means only the first half got wave, second half there's no wave. That means when you draw, right, make sure use a proper scale. That means the width must be 2, the height must be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So that means when you draw, right, okay, 2, 4. So got output, no output, and then got output, and then got no output. Okay, got output, and then there's no output. Okay, make sure you draw using a proper scale. Make sure the scale is correct. 2, your width will be 2, your height will be your height will be 4. Okay, so 2 and 4. So positive cycle got current, negative cycle there's no current. Okay, so this one is to show the half wave rectification. Okay, so name the process involved. So the process will be half wave rectification. Okay, half wave rectification. So name component Q. Component Q is known as diode. Okay, diode. So component Q is made from a semiconductor material. One type is N-type. Like explain how N-type semiconductor is produced. So you can say by adding or by adding or by doping adding pentavalent. Okay, atom into semiconductor. So you no need to name what type of pentavalent atom. Just say by adding same pentavalent atom into semiconductor, so that.
Serius lah belajar apa tu?
Tak tahu.
Okay.
Tak tahu.
Okay. Putus tadi.
Sir, record balik sir, record balik.
Memang rekod ni. Recording.
Oh.
Okay. Now, so okay. So this one, okay, by adding pentavalent atom into semiconductor. Okay. So that majority charge is electron. Okay, and minority is hole lah. So that majority charge is electron, minority is electron. So electron. Okay. Okay, now you see oh just now, okay, this question is, I just want to explain about this part. Okay, this one they can give you lah. Okay, this one they ask you to draw the orientation of diode so that you can get a full wave rectification. Okay, so like this, they give you a blank space here. You just draw the how you're going to arrange the diode. Okay, how you're going to arrange the diode. So it's very simple lah. Okay, you just allow the current. Let's say if you take the current this way, right? You only allow the current to flow in one direction. Either you want it to go to the right or go to the left. If you want it to go to the right, that means this diode must be facing downward. That means the triangle must be facing downward. That means this one must be facing upward.
Sir, cannot see sir.
Huh?
I mean, it's like,
Boleh je.
What? Can
oh
see
sorry.
right?
Can,
Boleh,
can.
boleh.
Tadi tak boleh, Tusha ni mesti mata tak boleh buka ni. Malam mabuk apa ya? Some facing down.
Sorry.
No, you drinking lah, that's why.
No sir, I'm using my phone so I zoomed in. I forgot can zoom out.
Okay, so this one must be facing downward. Okay. Okay, so up to you lah. If this triangle goes up, this one goes down. If this one goes up, this one goes down. Okay, either way is okay. There's only two answers. That means if this one is facing this way, sorry, silap lah. Aduh, Tusha punya pasal ni. This one going down. Sorry.
What I do lah?
This one going down. Kacau, just now the lukisan cantik ni. This one going up. Okay. And then this one will follow this. Okay. And then this one will follow this. Okay. So that means if this one is facing down, this one must be facing up. So this one will follow this, one follow this one follow this. Okay. Now, so what you must know is, okay, half wave rectification, your output will look like this. There's only half wave lah. Okay. Full wave rectification, you see a full wave. Now, but the problem with this one, okay, whether it's half wave or full wave, okay. The only thing half wave, there's no gap here lah. You see your current still fluctuates. That means the current will increase, decrease, increase. That means your current is not smooth. That means the voltage is not smooth. So you need a component to smoothen the voltage. So that's where we have another component. We call it as capacitor. Okay. Now capacitor is used to smoothen your voltage. Okay. So capacitor will be used to smoothen the voltage. Now, okay. First of all, you need to know what is a capacitor. Now, capacitor basically, okay, it's a component where it consists of two metal plates. So these are metal plates. Okay. So between the metal plates, we put an insulator. Okay. So it can be polystyrene, it can be paper, whatever lah. Okay, there's an insulator here. Now, So let's say the capacitor is connected to the battery. So what happened? The electron will move from negative, goes to this side. But it cannot jump to this because there is a insulator. So the electron will be accumulated on this side. So this plate become negatively charged. This plate become negatively charged. Relatively, this plate become positively charged. Okay. So this one become negative, this one become positive. So we call it as charging. So you are charging your capacitor. Now let's say the capacitor that has been charged. Okay. Okay, so this capacitor has been charged. You take out the capacitor. Let's say you connect to a bulb. What you will see is, you will see that the bulb will light up for a while. Why? Because the electron will flow through the bulb to go to this side to neutralize this plate. That means the electron will flow this way to neutralize. The electron will flow this way and neutralize. That means when there's flow of electron, there will be current. Okay, so the electron will flow and neutralize, electron will flow and neutralize, and then electron flow will neutralize. So once this one becomes neutral, what happens? There won't be flow of current. This one we call it as discharging. Okay, there will be discharging. So that means when you connect to the battery, it's charging. That means you supply charges to the capacitor. And then what happens is, the capacitor will discharge and produce electricity. And then you charge back, discharge. So something like a temporary battery like that lah. Okay, that means when you connect to the battery, it will be charged. And then when you connect to the bulb, it will be discharged. It produces electric current. And then you charge back. So this capacitor will be used to smoothen the voltage. Now, okay. Okay. Okay, just now, right? Just now I say the half wave rectification, the bulb will blink, right? For full wave also will blink, but be faster because there's no gap here. Okay, for half wave there'll be a blink, it will light up, and then after some time there's no light, and then it will light up. But for half wave, it will be faster lah, because the thing is there's no gap, but the thing is the voltage still drop to zero. Okay, so what you do is you take the capacitor. Okay, you take the capacitor. Okay. We put it into the circuit. Okay, yeah. Okay, now this is a circuit. Now this is half-wave rectification. Now if you remember the graph of voltage against time for alternating current, so the graph will look like this, right? So you have a positive cycle, negative cycle, positive cycle, negative cycle. Okay, now this is your capacitor. This is a symbol of capacitor. So the capacitor be connected parallel to your appliance. It can be resistor, it can be bulb. Now during the positive cycle, what happens is, you see that the current, right? Okay, will pass through the resistor and also will charge the capacitor. So during the positive cycle, that means during the time when this one is positive, capacitor will be charged, and then there will also be current passing through the resistor. That means the current by the resistor is supplied by the power supply. Now what happened during the negative cycle? That means when this one become positive, this one become negative. So what happened is, the current from the power supply cannot flow to the resistor because reverse bias. So by right, there won't be any current to the resistor. But what happened is, you see that now the capacitor will be discharged. Now the capacitor will maintain the voltage or will supply the current. That means if you put a bulb, the bulb will not blink. Okay, it will be able to still to light up because the capacitor will be discharged. Okay. Okay. So that's why you see the voltage will not go to zero. So that's why the ripple will look like this lah. So with the capacitor, it will be much more smoother. Okay. What happened? This one, the capacitor will be charged and then discharged. Charge, discharge. Okay. So
sure.
Yeah.
But how come when it's negative, then you just change the battery side, right?
No.
Earlier, how come like the current can split, but now cannot split?
Can split.
No, the first, this one you see, it will split one. Right?
Yeah.
Then what happens? Then you change the battery to the other side.
This is alternating current. The terminal will change by itself.
Okay. Then
That means the current from the power supply cannot flow already. Cannot flow to the resistor.
why?
Because reverse bias lah. Because diode only allow current to flow in one direction.
Okay.
That's why you kena bangun awal.
Tadi
You
dia
datang
tidur,
tengah-tengah
sir.
panggung
Saya
wayang.
explain. Dia tidur.
Nama later I see a video.
Itulah, pergi masuk panggung wayang, cerita sudah habis, minta orang ulang balik.
I never ulang lah. Sorry. Continue.
Okay, so that means the current will be supplied by the capacitor. So the capacitor will supply the voltage. So that's why you see there's a current here, even though it's reverse bias. Okay, so meaning with the help of capacitor, your voltage is much more smoother. That means what happened, this one is charging and then you discharge and then you charge. It will not go to zero because you see, you have to remember, right? For AC, it will positive, negative, then change back to positive. So you charge back lah, and then it will be discharged and then charge back, discharge. Okay, so that's why it will not go to zero. Okay, so this part, your what do you call it, is during the during the forward bias. Okay, this one during the forward bias. This one during the reverse bias, and then forward bias, reverse bias. So that's why you see that the voltage is much more smoother. So what you must know is, okay, the output voltage now, half-wave rectification without any diode will look like this. Okay, full-wave rectification without, half-wave rectification without capacitor will look like this. Okay, full wave without capacitor will look like this. If you add a capacitor, it will look like this. Okay, when you draw, it look like a wave. It will look like this lah. So it's much more smoother. Okay, it's much more smoother. Okay, so the function of capacitor is to smoothen the voltage. Okay, diode is only to convert AC to DC or to allow current to flow in one direction. Okay, so this is relative. This is what diode is all about lah. Okay, now usually your question is not very detailed. They just say, okay, what name one component is required to smoothen the voltage. Okay, like the one I talked earlier about the band, right? From covalent band to what they call it, conduction band. Actually, they won't ask in SPM because actually that one is, it's actually supposed to be A level, slightly higher. Okay, in A level they will learn more about this lah. Okay, this one you just see what is the function of the diode. Okay, what is the function of diode? That means you allow current to flow in one direction. And then the term lah, forward bias, reverse bias, all this. Okay, forward means the P must be connected to positive and to negative. Okay, so these are the terms that you have to use. Okay. Okay, so I think that's all for today. So your
That's
next,
all.
I started
That's
at
all.
11 o'clock.
Yeah. No, I just asking. That's all.
The next class will be on Thursday.
Thursday. Okay, can Thursday can.
Thursday will be transistor, much more difficult. Okay, the most difficult is the diode and the transistor. Okay. Okay. So next Thursday, your class.
Thank you, sir.
What is 9 and 1? Adam all idiot.
Thank you,
Syah buat
sir.
lagu lah, sir.
Hah?
Sir, Syah buat lagu.
Okay. Okay, so on Thursday. 11
Thank you, sir.
o'clock.
Bye. Take care.
11. Okay. Shall I call your mom and ask her to wake you up?
No need. Thank you. I got
Actually,
pigeon. I got pigeon lah, sir. Chill.
No need. Okay, I'll call Puan Syarul better lah. She's better.
Hey, don't. I promise I'll wake up 9 o'clock.
Okay. Okay, that's all.